one of the biggest challenges for people is everybody wants a better quality of life. Everybody wants life to be greater, but almost all of us get stuck at times where something stops us, something prevents us from doing something that we really are capable of doing. Whether it's turning around our body or shifting a relationship or turning around our finances or maybe just being happy and fulfilled at a different level, we get stuck with a belief of how we're not supposed to be, what we're not supposed to do, what people won't accept, what we're not capable of. Or maybe we get stuck in an emotional pattern of just being pissed off or frustrated or worried or sad or overwhelmed. Sometimes we get stuck, not so much in anything but some habits of doing things a certain way. And what a breakthrough simply is that moment in time where there's an opening. And the opening can come from a conversation, it can come from meeting somebody that inspires you, it can come from an insight, it can come from watching a movie and being moved emotionally at just that right moment. It usually comes because something kind of clicked inside of us. Something snapped us and made us look at life through a different filter, in a different way. And it's a real breakthrough because you take that little insight, that little distinction, that little moment, or maybe that little or big emotion inside of you that says, no more, I'm going to change this. And suddenly you do something to make your life better. You break out of the impossibility of life has to be this way or life is controlling me, and you start to take back control of your life. You start to make the shift that creates the quality of life that you really deserve. My point is, if you're in the vinyl record business, you got to tell yourself the truth. You got to see it as it is, not worse than it is, but you also got to get the truth and deal with it. You got to deal with the cards you're dealt. You're going to have to retool. You're going to have to change something. You might have to move. If you live in the Gulf, and I don't support anything that's happened there, who could? It's unconscionable what's happened with BP. But if you live in the Gulf and you're a third-generation fisherman, and you fish for oysters, and they're dead, you better get to the truth. Are they going to be dead for 2 years or 10 or 20 to the best of your ability? And you might say, well, I can't do anything else. I can't. I'm a third generation. This is all I know. Yes, you can. Get to the truth and deal with it. Deal with the card you're dealt with. You got to deal with it, sure, I'm sure legally, but in the meantime, you got to take care of your family. I'm not saying this off the cuff easy because I've been in those situations where it's impossible, it's unjust, it's wrong, but I still got to deal with it just like you. Am I making sense? It's like, you might say, I've lived here my life. You might have to move. You might have to fish someplace else. You might have to, and I know you still got to deal with all the consequences, but you got to take back control of your life. There are unjust things that happen, but you got to take control. Easy for me to say, I'm not sitting in your shoes. I get that. But who hasn't experienced some form of injustice someplace? Who's not dealt with something unfair? Who's not dealt with something that wasn't meant to be unfair, but it affected your entire life, your career, your finances, whatever? You got to tell yourself the truth, and you got to get to those dealing with the reality right now. The longer you wait, the longer the crisis will be. If you're having an economic crisis, got to deal with it. Got to downsize, right size, do whatever it takes. How many believe that engagement makes a difference in the quality of your life? How many think engagement makes a difference in how happy you are? Say aye. If you think engagement will affect your business, say aye. So then why don't you engage? The answer is you do. The question is what level? Right? We all engage. Do you engage at a low level, a deep level? Do you engage the mind? Do you engage your own mind and heart? Other people's mind and heart, or just their head? The people that engage the mind and heart, they have some extraordinary capacity. Let's just see the ways we can change our engagement. Most of us do this unconsciously. I want you to become aware of how you change your state of engagement. So when I say now, I'm going to ask you to walk around this room and introduce yourself to as many people as you can. I start most seminars this way because I want people to see something inside themselves they don't notice usually. And that is when you go to introduce yourself, though, I want you to do it in a very specific level of engagement. I want you to go up to people where you're really not wanting to engage. You're just doing it because you should and it's polite, but it kind of annoys you. Who knows what I'm talking about here? So when you walk up to them, I want you to literally walk up to them like you're doing this because you have to, but you really are annoyed by this. Like, this is a stupid exercise. Why should we have to do the shit this guy Robbins is saying? Why do I have to shake your hand? You don't say that. You just think it. What do you do when you're a little annoyed with your face? What do you do with your body when you're a little annoyed or a little frustrated or it's a waste of your time? What happens around your eyes? How do you walk to somebody when it's a waste of your time? How do you shake their hand? I want you to notice specifically while you do this, two things. One, how does it feel to be greeted that way? That'll be obvious. But more importantly, what do you have to do to lower your engagement to this level with your body? Because if you become aware of your body, you can change your engagement that fast. No, but if you start within you, even if you only show a portion of it, like a tip of the iceberg, people feel there's something deeper underneath, even when you don't say it. They sense what's in you. And when that's there, you can have a much deeper impact. Now, why did you come to this conference? Tell me, anyone, why did you come to this conference, sir? To grow what? What's it? To grow what? To grow inside as an individual. What did you hope would happen if you grow inside as an individual? I'll be a better person. If you're a better person, what will that give you? A better life. If you have a better life, what will that give you? Happiness. So he's got a long story, but he just freaking wants to be happy. And most of us have a long story. If I do this and this and this, if I have 14 perfect children, if I change the world, if I make $1 trillion, if I do these things, then you have some people it's happy, some people it's free, some people feel a life of meaning, some people say I'm lovable or I'm loved. We all have different words, but we're after emotions. Everything you do, and most of us in this room are pretty intellectual individuals, pretty smart individuals, at least we think we are, but this gets in the way often of this. And we forget this is what we're after.
I myself got tired of being told by people in positions of authority or people of extreme wealth that I was naive, that I don't understand how business works. And for many years, I believed them. I thought maybe I am the dumb one, right? We all kind of feel that because they have the power, they have the authority, they have the money, they know more than we do. But we still go to work and feel uncomfortable. And it turns out that that discomfort, that gut feeling that says that there's something wrong here, turns out that the majority actually knows something. And to me, this is a world is flat moment, that the people who've learned to game the system, that this discomfort that we feel, we actually are right. Like, they actually don't understand the game they're in. Business is an infinite game, and when you play with a finite mindset, lots of people suffer, including the companies that they themselves are trying to build. That's the great irony. The great irony is the way you build great companies is with an infinite mindset. The way you build great companies is by prioritizing people before profit. The way you build great companies is will before resources. Both things important, but there has to be this general leaning where we can feel, when we come to work and feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves, where we feel that our work and our effort is worth more than simply the money we make. We know that, right? And so for me, I got tired of being told I was naive. I got tired of being told that I don't understand how business works. And it turns out that me and the majority of people actually understand more. We may not understand the mechanics, but we understand that what's happening isn't right. It doesn't feel right.
What advice would you have for managers or companies that are really working through change and struggling?
Let me define creative destruction, or I will use Schumpeter's definition. Here's the way he put it. It is not price and output competition which counts, but the competition from the new product, the new technology, the new source of supply, the new type of organization which commands a decisive cost or quality advantage and which strikes not at the margins of the profits and the outputs, but at their foundations and their very lives. So that's what we're talking about here. This is not life or death for us individually, but life and death for our businesses and our jobs. And so what we do to communicate this is get all our employees to understand that change is a risk for all of us. But not changing isn't a risk, it's suicide. It is a certainty that you are going out of business and you are going to, if you're an individual employee, if you're not changing and improving and working on that every day, you're not going to have your job. Whereas if you take what you think are risks and you find a way to eliminate most of your job, because there's a way to do this more efficiently or to bypass, do it a completely different way. Here at Coke, you're not going to lose your job. You're going to be a hero.